I welcome you to the continued adventure of the Naruto Anime Mod 100 Days series. Like always, if you haven't yet seen the first two parts, it is highly recommended as the 100 Days follows a pre-written storyline. In the last part, we learned more about the nature forces, and even took down two of them. Fire Force, however, beat all of us, and even absorbed himself into Kevin, one of my closest friends. We also learned that Melancholy herself is actually Yin Force. And finally, I obtained Water Stage Mode by beating Water Force. With all that said, let's get into the Naruto Anime Mod 300 Days. After being told to let Naruto handle the threat of Fire Force for now, I decide to continue training. Melancholy joins me in my training, also feeling weak after our last encounter with Fire Force. We spend 5 days training and sparring, and then 2 days where we also train with Shindo. On day 207, our training gets interrupted by my father, the 6th Hokage. He requests me to follow him. He takes me to a training ground and explains that if I'm to get stronger, I should learn more jutsu types. He further explains that he's going to spend some time training me in one of his best elements, Lightning Release. After 12 days, I managed to get a decent hang of it, and he gives me an offer. They plan on setting up a mission for me so that I can become an official Chunin. This is an alternative to waiting 5 months for the next exam, as the village recognizes my talent and power. I agree to the mission, and he tells me to rest a couple of days, while they set everything up. It's time for my Chunin exam. I'm told to traverse the forest on a multi-day mission to save Shindo from the evil clutches of Orochimaru. I face several snakes that attack me, and a couple snake clones of Orochimaru's. Finally, I find Orochimaru and Shindo. Shindo is like tied up in snakes or something. It's up to you to figure that one out. In order to pass, I have to defeat Orochimaru, but then he summons 2 massive snakes, Manda and Oda. I must first defeat them. But not only that, they also brought along some more snake friends. I take them out and face Orochimaru. I beat him, successfully freeing Shindo, and passing my personalized Chunin exam. I decide it's time to relax a bit and head to the hot springs. Once there, I notice an old man peeking in on the women. I throw my flying thunder god kunai right next to him. He gets mad at me and challenges me to a fight in the training grounds. I arrive, and true to his word, he's waiting for me. He says that if he wins, I have to shut my mouth and not speak a single word about him peeping. And if I win, he'll teach me a new jutsu. We battle, and even though he's strong, I manage to get the best of him thanks to my flying thunder god kunai. He makes the decision to train me, and adds that he wasn't really trying his hardest. For 1 week, he trains me to better master my ability to gather and retain Senjutsu chakra. Along with this, he also helps me learn a new jutsu, as promised. Toad Oil Bullet. It's a decent jutsu, giving me the ability to get all my enemies stuck in oil. However, its best usage is when combined with fire style. All of a sudden, Melancholy and Shindo show up. They tell me that we've been ordered to set out on a mission to battle Fire Force, who had killed several nearby squads of Genin and Chunin that were out on patrol. We arrive, and he's just waiting for us. Right away, I activate Water Sage Mode and charge into battle. Still tired from my week of training, he beats me far easier than last time. But this time, I'm not alone. Shindo takes on Fire Force in my stead. When he has him distracted, Melancholy gets him in another shadow possession. With him frozen, I walk up to him, and I demand he releases Kevin. When all of a sudden, Melancholy yells for me to step back, as he's managed to break the jutsu, but before I can, he slashes my face. The pain is unimaginable. And he managed to gouge out my left eye with one slash. On top of that, it burns, thanks to his fire style. He goes for another strike, but at that moment he stops. Kevin, having temporarily regained control, apologizes. He rips out his own eye and gives it to me, telling me to replace my eye with it, after returning to the village. Before another word can be said, he vanishes. Shindo and Melancholy help me back to the village. I spend over a week recovering, and then the village medics do as Kevin requested and replace my lost eye with his Sharingan. In order to stop it from constantly draining my chakra, I'm forced to keep my eye closed when I don't wish to be using it. I activate the Sharingan for the first time, and it has a weird reaction to my body. It's probably because of water forces influenced in my body, but it causes the Sharingan to be blue in color. I rest a few more days and begin training with the Sharingan in order to get used to the chakra usage of it. While training on day 245, Lord Sixth shows up. With access to the Sharingan, he decides to further my lightning release training. For a few days, he helps me learn the Chidori, a powerful, fast-moving lightning blade that can't be properly controlled without having the sight granted by the Sharingan. At the end of day 250, I've managed to get good enough with the Chidori to be able to use it about 5 times per day. My dad explains that over time it'll get easier to use and even less draining. I rest for a couple days before being given a mission alongside Shindo and Melancholy to go to the Sand Village. We're told that more information will be given to us when we arrive. We arrive 3 days later to the Hidden Sand. When we show up, we're gathered to a meeting place. There, not only stands Sand Ninja, but also Go from the Hidden Raid and a bunch of other ninja. When we ask Go what's going on, he says that apparently Naruto Uzumaki has been seen around the sand several times. He had been chasing Wind Force, but lost him around here somewhere. So in order to be ready for an attack, the Sand gathered forces from other ninja villages. They ended up calling this the Sand Alliance. For 3 days, all of us gathered ninja trained together and spent 2 resting. Then, on day 260, we're sent in squads of 2 to search for Wind Force outside the village. I'm paired with Go, while Shindo and Melancholy are put together. Together, Go and I search around the Land of Wind for Wind Force. For the first couple days we have no luck, but on day 264, we run into Wind Force. Go summons 2 creatures to help fight, and together we take them on. But after defeating him, he vanishes in a whirl of wind. Turns out this is just a really weak wind clone he made to search out the area. We head back to the village and take out a few more clones on the way. We arrive early the next day and let the Kazekage know what we've learned. I believe that Wind Force is using his clones to search for something. I'm not sure what as of yet. Lord Kazekage decides that in order to make sure Wind Force doesn't get whatever it is he's after, we need to find it first. If any of us spot anything weird, we're to take it if possible, and if we can't physically take what it is, we're to guard it with our lives. For 10 whole days, the Sand Alliance fights off the Wind Clones, while searching for whatever he's looking for. On day 276, however, Go and I run into something very interesting. Or as I should say, someone very interesting. Fire Force shows up. Go and I attempt to fight him. With all my training and Sage Mode on top of that, I'm able to beat Fire Force, with Go's assistance here and there. He laughs, and then says,
Finally, I found what I was looking for.
Confused, I turn around. Wind Force is here also. I try to fight him too, but lose. The only reason I was able to beat Fire Force, who was actually just flat out stronger than Wind Force, was purely because of my elemental advantage. But against Wind Force, I didn't have much I could do. Naruto shows up and helps me fight them. Fire Force gets back up also. We have them on the back foot. Naruto is about to finish Wind Force for good. But I'm not sure what to do with Fire Force, being inside of Kevin's body. Then, before Naruto can make the final blow, they fuse together into Scorch Force. Their might is overwhelming. Even with Naruto and I working together, we can't win. They get away, looking for something else. For 6 days, Naruto, Go, and I rest from that intense fight. We explained to the Kazekage that we believe Wind Force was searching for Fire Force to fuse with. We also tell him that even with the combined power of me and Naruto, we couldn't beat them when fused. Having failed in stopping Wind Force, we all return to our respective villages. We arrive, and after a few days of rest, a Kage summit is called. Shindo and I are assigned to go with Lord 6th. The meeting place is held in the Land of Ice. We arrive on day 290 and all meet up. The summit begins, and the subject matter is dealing with the remaining forces. Crystal and Yin forces are both on our side. Water Force is sealed within me. Earth and Lightning fuse together and were then sealed after the fact. All that remains now is the newly fused Wind and Fire forces, and Yang Force. Together, the 6 Kage come up with a plan to capture Scorch Force, but things don't always go according to plan, now do they? Right then and there, Scorch Force shows up. The Raikage rushes him, only to get knocked down immediately. Scorch looks at me.
After I left, I realized something. I want that eye back. My foolish friend gave it away. Something that no longer belonged to him.
He attacks me, and all of the Kage begin fighting him together, while Shindo, Lord 6th, and I run outside. My father tells me and Shindo to run, but it's too late. Scorch has managed to get past all the Kage. Then and there, he kills Lord 6th. He kills my father. Kevin's Sharingan awakens when I see my father die. In my blind rage, I activate Water Sage and push myself to open the 6th gate. It's damaging my body heavily, but right now I don't feel the pain. In this state, I'm able to push him back decently well. With Mangekyo Sage Mode in the 6th gate, I barely managed to take him down. The Mangekyo drains all my chakra, however, and I'm left heavily weakened. The other Kage are working on trying to seal Scorch Force, when suddenly, more things go wrong. They all get sent flying back, and someone else shows up. Yang Force. She laughs. Then she and Scorch disappear. With the Kage's plans ruined and my father dead, Shindo and I return to the Leaf to tell of the horrible news. The Leaf civilians and ninja alike are all thrown aback by the loss of Lord Sixth. The elders immediately get to deciding the 7th Hokage. The main candidates are Shindo and Jiraiya. Jiraiya refuses the position, as he once did when Lord Third passed. Thus, Shindo is being made the 7th Hokage. For the last 6 days, the elders and Shindo work on getting everything set up for him to officially become the Hokage. I train a bit with Jiraiya before the two of us decide to leave the village. He wants to train me further in Senjutsu, in the hopes that I may better my Water Sage mode. What are Yang Force's plans? How will the Leaf Village be able to recover from such a large loss? Will I be able to perfect Sage mode? These questions and more will be answered in the next 100 days.